Circle up. We're going to combat twerk. Have a seat. That's my next meetup. You guys having fun?
Yeah.
Hey, remember, the problem with self-defense a lot of times is self-defense instructors and the self-defense people, we take ourselves way too friggin' serious. And it's not that we shouldn't, right? The problem is that being too serious actually slows down your learning. One of the things I learned from a very, very great teacher, a world-class master in the martial arts, a man by the name of Professor Remy Presas. He's the world's leading authority on the Filipino martial arts. And is really one of the people responsible for bringing the Filipino martial arts to this country. He had a very, very specific methodology of training. It was required for you to smile whenever you were training, to be happy. Why? Because the happier you are, the faster you learn. And this is a stressful enough topic without getting a lot of these instructors who are basically insecure in and of themselves and trying to prove that they actually know something. I get people test me all the time. It's all right. You get used to it after the first 2 or 3 years, right? But my point is, have fun with what you're doing. Because if you have fun with what you're doing, but in the back of your mind you know why you're doing it, you'll learn it faster. And it's something you're more likely to practice at home. Why? Because when you think about the move, it feels good. You have fun. Those feelings come back. And everybody wants to feel good, right? So if I feel so pretty, oh so pretty, oh so deadly and pretty, pretty, deadly, dead! And all of a sudden your significant other will look at you and go, you're pretty, honey. Right? So, you notice that there's a lot of people in the room who are of the feminine gender, which is cool. I love that. Give yourselves a big round of applause for coming out. A lot of guys in the room, which I expected, but give yourselves a big round of applause anyway. But one of the things that you'll notice between the average female in the room and the average male in the room, there's a significant height difference. As George Carlin called that, those with superior height deficit, vertically challenged kinds of people. And so one of the things that I want to share with you when dealing with that or learning how to train as a small person, because I was a small person. I am a small person. I used to be much bigger, around. Back in 2005, my weight was 270 pounds. What?
I got videos that prove it.
That's amazing.
270 pounds, okay? And I was really good at the martial arts. And I used to proclaim to the world, I'm not using strength, I'm using technique. Well, guess what? I was lying then too. I was using technique. Don't get me wrong, I was using technique. But I was relying on mass. I was relying on a 40-pound arm to deliver a technique, as opposed to something much more important, technique and principle. So one of the things that I started to do from 2005 on was I started to study other martial arts. But I was looking for a very specific kind of martial art, a very specific kind of instructor. The instructor had to be less than 180 pounds. And if they were at least 5'7" to 5'10", they were useful. Does that make sense? And if the martial art happened to have been designed by or for a woman, I paid significant attention to it. Okay? The vast majority of us here want to stay pretty, even the guys. And none of us want to train to be MMA fighters, who have a notoriously low lifespan, by the way. Some of us want to do combatives and things like that, and that's okay. We do those things too. I'm a certified instructor in combat Systema. It's an art specifically taught to the Russian Special Forces. And we do, Billy's been with me now for 2, 3 years, 4 or 5 years now, hasn't it? And he has a class he teaches up in Oceanside now, a Systema class. So we do go there. But the vast majority of us just want to stay pretty, feel good, move good, and know that we have a good chance of taking care of ourselves. Does that make sense? So what I'm going to share with you now is one of my little secrets. Not really a secret. Some arts have it, but they don't make it as explicit. I call it the cutting board. So what I want you guys to do, and one of the biggest problems that you have when you have these people with really extreme height differentials, is the little person who's always the defender is always reaching up to try and protect themselves or push the person away. That's the worst thing to do against a big person. It's the worst thing you can do. So I'm going to teach you an alternative strategy to play with. We call it the cutting board. So everybody take your forearm, or take your arm like this, and pay attention to the length of distance between your elbow, the crease of your elbow, and your wrist. Now what I want you to do is I want you to place it on your hip. Fold your wrist up like this. Now if you can imagine corners, doesn't see how it kind of indicates a block or a cube? Turn that wrist, go like this. Now come here. Everybody see this? See how it forms the base of a cube between my shoulders, my hips? Here, I'm trying to, right? Reese, could I use you again? I don't know, for some reason I just like you. I don't know why. So the whole idea is everybody even taller than Reese here? No, I think, John, I'll probably pick on you next. But the whole idea, the problem that we have a lot of times when we're dealing with these extreme height difference is I can't reach. Or we're going like this. If we understand the cutting board principle, anything that falls in my cutting board, I'm allowed to attack. I never reach, I never distort. You'll see, when we get to the Systema portion of today, you'll hear me talk about structure, alignment, and breathing. I never want to distort my structure to reach him. Whatever's in my cutting board is what I'm allowed to attack. And notice what happens when I attack what's in my cutting board. I'm strong, and he's not. So when we're doing these techniques, and now I want you to target anybody who's significantly taller than you. Okay?
I'm safe.
Everything we did with the hairbrush. If he's too far away, see how it violates my cutting board? What just happened? I moved my hairbrush inside my cutting board, I attacked what was there, and everything else came to me. Pretty cool, right? I thought it was cool. It made my life a whole lot easier. I'm all about making your life easier. So from this movement, as you turn, pay attention to your cutting board. Instead of reaching for him, attack what's in your cutting board. Now, going back to yin and yang, that's the yang line. See how there's a slight bend in his elbow? So this is one line. This is another line. See how he lets go? Grab tight. If I push straight, grab tight. If I push straight, it doesn't work. You see, if I follow the Bony vector, I have a weak line. Now, it doesn't mean that some big, strong guy isn't going to be able to hold on to you. But it does mean that he will be weaker along that line than he will like this. See how he gets strong? But it all goes back to the cutting board concept. I can cut him in this way. I can cut him in this way. I can cut him in this way. Right? Don't violate your cutting board. But that's the principle I want you to work now. We have the entry. Okay? No matter what we do, we're going to do this. That's it. That's all you got to know. He grabs me. Let go. And let go. He grabs me again. He grabs me again. Right? Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. So, hairbrush, cutting board, yang meridian or yang vector, yin vector. Practice. Got it? Work on getting the body to fold. If you start to have trouble, if his body's not folding, one of two things is going on. You're either not operating from your hip, or you've got the vector wrong. Make sense? Play with it. Thank you. Give him a big round of applause. Go. Rock and roll.